For a long time, I thought I had my entire life mapped out. I thought I knew exactly who I was, where I was going, and most importantly, who was going to be standing right there next to me. But I guess life has a funny way of completely destroying your reality when you least expect it. I need to talk about this, just to get it out of my head, because even now, months later, the sheer scale of the betrayal still feels like a bad movie. Let me take you back to how it all looked before the crash. I had been with my girlfriend for 3 years. 3 years of what I genuinely believed was building a foundation for a lifetime. I wasn't just casually dating her. I was all in. I was actively saving up for an engagement ring. And not just any ring, the exact one she had, accidentally, left pulled up on my laptop browser months prior. It was expensive, way out of my normal budget, but I didn't care. I wanted to give her the world. To make that happen, I was working myself to the bone. I took on double shifts, picked up every single piece of overtime my boss would throw at me, and spent my weekends grinding just to watch that savings account grow. I was exhausted. I was coming home with dirt under my fingernails, completely drained, barely able to keep my eyes open through dinner. But every time I looked at her, I told myself it was worth it. I was building our future. But then the subtle changes started happening. It wasn't an overnight shift. It was a slow, creeping shadow over our relationship. The first thing I noticed was her phone. She used to leave it anywhere, on the kitchen counter, face up on the couch, whatever. Suddenly, it was always in her pocket, or placed face down like a coaster. She changed her passcode. When I asked her about it casually, she brushed it off, saying some coworker had been snooping at her desk and she just wanted some privacy. It sounded reasonable at the time. When you love someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't immediately jump to the worst-case scenario. Then came the late-night notifications. It started around a Tuesday. It was 2 a.m. and I was dead tired, finally getting some sleep before my next double shift. The room was pitch black, and suddenly, her side of the bed lit up. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It wasn't just one text. It was a barrage. My eyes shot open. I looked over and she was already awake, her face glowing in the blue light of the screen, typing frantically. "Who is messaging you at 2 in the morning?" I asked, my voice groggy. She didn't even look up. "Oh, it's just work stuff. You know how crazy the office is right now. Go back to sleep." Work stuff. At 2 a.m. I might have been exhausted, but I wasn't stupid. Still, I didn't want to start a massive fight at 2 in the morning when I had to be up at 6. So I closed my eyes and pretended to sleep. But my heart was pounding. This became a nightly routine. Every single night, between midnight and 3 a.m., her phone would explode with notifications. The excuses kept coming. Work emergency. My sister is having drama. Just group chat spam. I know what everyone says. Everyone says you should never go through your partner's phone. It's a breach of trust. It's toxic. It's an invasion of privacy. And for 3 years, I never even had the urge to look. But that knot in my stomach was growing every single day. I felt like I was losing my mind. I was working 14 hours a day for a woman who felt like she was slowly becoming a stranger, living a second life in the middle of the night. So, I did it. I crossed the line. One night, she went to take a shower. She forgot to lock her screen before tossing it onto the bed. I heard the water running, and I stared at the phone. My hands were literally shaking. I felt sick to my stomach, feeling like a criminal in my own bedroom. I took a deep breath, picked it up, and opened her messages. I expected to find a guy. I expected to find maybe a flirty coworker or an ex-boyfriend she was talking to behind my back. That would have hurt. That would have been enough to end things. But what I actually found, holy crap, my entire life exploded right there in my hands. It wasn't just one dude, it was 4 different guys. 4 completely separate lives she was juggling. I sat there on the edge of the bed, the sound of the shower masking my breathing as I scrolled through sheer insanity. There were 4 different message threads, all heavily active, all filled with things that make me sick just thinking about them. There were pictures I will never be able to unsee. There were plans for hotel hookups, discussions about what times I would be at work, and explicit details of things they had done together. But the worst part wasn't the physical cheating. The worst part was who these guys were and the way they talked about me. Guy number one was her boss. Classic, right? The guy who was supposedly texting her at 2 a.m. about work stuff. Turns out, the only work she was doing was staying late at the office to sleep with him on his desk. Guy number two was our neighbor, the guy from right down the hall, the guy I held the elevator for, the guy I lent my power drill to just 3 weeks ago. They were hooking up in our apartment while I was at my shift. Guy number three was the absolute kicker, her gay friend, the guy she was always hanging out with, going for coffee with, spending Sunday afternoons with. Whenever I felt a little weird about how much time they spent together, she would roll her eyes and say, "Oh my God, he doesn't even like women. You're being so insecure." Well, surprise, surprise. He wasn't gay, not even a little bit. That was just the perfect cover story to keep him around without me getting suspicious. And then, guy number four. This is the one that broke me. It was my best friend, not just a buddy from the gym. My best friend since we were kids. We grew up together. We played Little League together. He was going to be the best man at my wedding. And there he was, in her phone, talking about me. I sat there, frozen, reading their messages. They weren't just hooking up, they were actively mocking me. They were joking about how oblivious I was. They laughed about how hard I was working to save up money, calling me a good little worker bee who was funding her lifestyle while she had her fun. This had been going on for 8 months. 8 entire months of me working double shifts, destroying my body to buy a ring for a woman who was treating my life like a sick, twisted joke. I put the phone exactly back where I found it. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I just felt completely, utterly numb. A cold, empty void opened up in my chest. When she got out of the shower, drying her hair with a towel, smiling at me like nothing was wrong, I didn't say a word. I waited. I wanted to gather my thoughts. I wanted to pack my most important things first. I confronted her later that evening in the living room. I told her I knew. I laid it all out. The boss, the neighbor, the fake gay friend, and my backstabbing best friend. I gave her the dates, the times, the jokes they made about me. I expected the classic reaction. I thought she would immediately burst into tears. I thought she would drop to her knees, beg for forgiveness, or at least try to violently deny it and call me crazy. That's what people do when they get caught, right? They panic. Nope, not her, not her. She stood there, leaning against the doorframe, and a slow, genuine smile spread across her face. And then she actually laughed. She let out a small chuckle, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Well, it took you long enough to figure it out." I was speechless. There was no remorse. There was no guilt in her eyes. It was like she was talking about a TV show she just finished watching. "Why?" was all I could manage to ask. She shrugged, completely unbothered. "You were just too predictable. All you do is work and talk about the future." I was bored. I needed some excitement. Bored. She destroyed my life, my trust, and my oldest friendship because I was working too hard to provide for us, and she got bored. I didn't say another word. There was nothing left to say to someone who lacked a human soul. I just grabbed the duffel bag I had packed earlier. As I was walking out the door, she grabbed her jacket and said she was going out to clear her head. Yeah, right. I knew exactly what that meant. She was probably heading straight to one of their apartments to play the victim. Later that night, sitting in a cheap motel room staring at the ceiling, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my so-called best friend. It read, "Hey man, I know you're mad." But honestly, it wasn't personal. These things just happen. "Let's grab a beer when you cool off." I stared at the screen in disbelief. It wasn't personal? Sleeping with my girlfriend of 3 years in my own bed wasn't personal? I blocked his number immediately. I blocked all of them. Every single one. That was 2 months ago. The first few weeks were hell. I won't lie and say I just moved on like a tough guy. I was completely messed up. I had to pack up my entire life, transfer my job to a completely different city, and start completely over. I started going to therapy because my ability to trust another human being was absolutely shattered. I spent nights wondering what was wrong with me, why I wasn't enough, why I didn't see the signs sooner. But then, the universe finally decided to balance the scales. Yesterday, I was sitting in my new apartment, drinking coffee, feeling okay for the first time in a while. My phone rang. It was a random, unregistered number. I usually ignore those, but for some reason, I picked it up. Hello? Silence. Then the sound of heavy sobbing. I recognized that cry instantly. It was her. She was absolutely hysterical, crying so hard she could barely breathe. Through the gasps and the tears, she started begging. She told me how much she missed me, how she made a huge mistake, how she threw away the best thing that ever happened to her. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. And as she talked, the whole pathetic story came spilling out. The beautiful, chaotic life she had built with her 4 guys had collapsed in spectacular fashion. Turns out, karma is absolute perfection when it finally hits. First, the boss. Once the thrill of the secret was gone, he got completely bored of her. Not only did he dump her, but he fired her from her job because she became a distraction to the workplace. He got exactly what he wanted and threw her out like trash. Second, the neighbor. His lease was up, and he just moved away without even telling her goodbye. Ghosted her completely. Third, the fake gay friend. Once she was single and available, the dynamic changed. He realized he didn't actually want a relationship with her. He just liked the thrill of sneaking around. So he ghosted her too. And finally, my former best friend. The guy who said, "These things happen." Well, something happened to him too. His long-term girlfriend found out about his little side adventures with my ex. She publicly exposed him to his entire family, dumped all his stuff on the front lawn, and left him. She had lost her job, her apartment, all 4 of her backup plans, and her reputation. She was sitting at rock bottom, calling the guy she laughed at, hoping I would be her safety net again. "Can we please just talk?" she begged, her voice cracking. "I know we can work things out. I'll do anything." I sat there, listening to the desperation in her voice. 2 months ago, this would have broken me, but now, I just felt nothing. Actually, no. I felt something else. I smiled. "Some things you just can't fix," I said into the receiver, my voice completely calm. "And finding out the woman you love has been living a secret life with 4 other men while you worked double shifts? Yeah, that's definitely one of them. Enjoy the mess you made." I didn't wait for her to respond. I just laughed, exactly the way she had laughed at me in that living room, and I hung up the phone. I blocked that number too, put my phone down, took a sip of my coffee, and looked out the window of my new apartment. For the first time in 3 years, I could finally breathe.